It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey and other comics from all over. We came to Japan to see the list they give you at the airport that says "Welcome to Japan. Here is what you are allowed to do." It turns out it's a piece of blank paper that is a short list. The Talk Funny podcast from NagoyaRadio.com and Nagoya Comedy. Here's Mark Bailey.
Mark Bailey back with Talk Funny, and Mike Miller's here.
Hi.
Mike, I don't know, I read something in the paper about you. You were hanging around some convenience store, which doesn't, right away I said, no comedian does that.
No.
But there was some scandal. It was some police, it turned into a police
Well,
event.
I don't really want to go into details. Me and my lawyer has advised me, but no, actually it was a guy in Fukuoka Prefecture, a place called Koga.
Okay.
Yeah, and what he did was he entered a store property of I think it was a Family Mart, and at 5:50 in the morning, it's plugged in an induction cooker and a rice cooker into the wall and started making food.
As you do.
As you do. And, of course, no one's going to notice, right?
What's the problem? What time was it?
Yeah, 5:50 a.m.
Okay, so they're busy inside, right? They would,
Yeah.
You know, the convenience store owners, they would never, call the police if somebody like me dropped a salad.
No, not at all, not at all.
All right, so I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah, well, the police didn't like it, so they chased him down, and he refused to open his... I love the story because this is from the Mainichi YY. The title is "Man Accused of Stealing Power from Fukuoka Convenience Store to Cook Rice Noodles." And apparently the police... He ran to his car and went into his car, and the police surrounded his car and started telling him to come out and, what his name, ask him his name and all sorts of stuff. And he just refused. He just sat there. And then he decided to took off in his car. Police ran after him. They chased him down. They called the cruiser to come get him. And they found him. They smashed his car window and basically arrested him for stealing power.
You got to eat the noodles first, right? How were the noodles?
I think there's a constitutional right to eat your noodles before you're arrested in Japan, is there not?
Yeah, it's kind of like the joke with, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? Yeah, how was the food? Foreigners don't know that that's actually on the statutes. It's called stealing electricity. It includes charging your phone. Mm-hmm. And my joke is, you can't go into a restaurant, even if you're ordering, and then plug your charger into the electrical outlet. Because to charge your phone, you need a consent. But also to do that, you also need consent. And... your experience when you ask a Japanese authority figure, can I do this? They always say yes, right?
Of course. It's a very welcoming country. It's a omotenashi, right?
Yes. You learn to ask forgiveness, never permission.
Yes.
Right? Like the military. Yeah, so this guy, he exemplifies the Japanese style of resisting arrest, just complete passive aggressiveness.
Yeah.
I don't see you. You're not there. You broke my car window. That never happened, I mean, maybe minorities in the U.S. could learn something. It's just... Don't jump out and confront the police because you're right. That never ends well.
Wait for them to drag you out.
Where are the marches for this guy? I can't eat noodles. I can't eat noodles. I can't breathe. I can't eat noodles. So how was you just came from the convenience store. Any scandals?
Well, I'd say the biggest scandal is the one that you've been talking about, is the gradual extinction of one of your favorite drinks of all time. Yeah,
the 9% Chew Highs by Keating are... You could probably find a dodo bird in a convenience store. I mean, the extinct animals, they're easier to find than this. All my friends were scouring the entire prefecture, and they're just phasing them out. I don't know what happened.
I mean, I've heard things are bad. I've heard it's so bad that David Attenborough is doing a documentary about it.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So a lot of foreigners don't realize that that's actually a statute. It sounds very petty. For the longest time, I was sure that Tom Petty was from Japan. Because Japan is the petty capital of the freaking world, right?
Well, and they love petty cash, too.
I went to a museum with one of my bar hostess friends. Her stepmom was in town. We were walking through the art museum. The science museum was closed. It's right next to that art museum. I think it's Koro. It was an exhibit, French exhibit. It was riveting. It's like, okay, here's one of him drawing a forest, and here's a forest with a river. I'm not a big fan of art museums.
Isn't it all pointillismo? It's like where he just push the brush against the canvas, and it kind of looks like a dot matrix printer kind of printouting.
It's very textured, but you can't get close enough to see the texture because there's it's almost like a police line. We're only social distancing 5-6 feet away. We're 10 feet away from this tiny painting that I'm trying to explain. It's written in French, and I'm trying to translate it into Spanish. And there's a swarm of these fired librarians because nobody goes to libraries anymore, and they're hanging out. They're the art Nazis, and very polite petite girls, older ladies, younger ladies, and they run over and they go, "I'm sorry, there's no talking allowed here."
Oh God! Yeah.
Okay, because it echoes and it might damage the painting. Okay,
You might damage the painting.
So we're whispering. I'm sorry, there's no whispering over here. And I said, she forgot her glasses, and she can't even see the description. It's written in Japanese, but she can't see it. So I'm explaining to her because and I said she's visually impaired, and she forgot her glasses. Technically true. And they said, oh, okay, but just keep it down. And she said, could you just gesture? Okay, it's a forest. So here's a picture of a forest. Let's go to the next one. Here's him in a forest with a river on the right. Here's one of him with a forest with a river on the left. Here's one with him with a forest above the river. Here's a boat taking off. Here's people cleaning a boat. And she didn't enjoy it at all. And they kept coming over, and she said, this is more interesting just hearing all the rules. So then I'm pointing, and they came over and they said, you're not allowed to point at the painting. I said, well, how is anyone supposed to know what I'm talking about if I can't point? She said, you can't point at the painting. I'm like, what if the painting complained? Why can't you do that? It's got glass over it. I'm not going to fling boogers and stuff at it. I mean, what's that? You can't point at it? I said, can we think about it? Can we breathe? That's another one. She said, well, you have to put your mask on. We both wear glasses, so it was hard to breathe, right? So when I'm talking, I pulled my mask down.
Oh, yeah.
And then she sneezed, and they came over and they said, no sneezing. Okay. All right, let me just email my immune system. Jesus, I said, what can you do here? You can look at the paintings, but you can't point at them, and you can't talk about them. You can't think about them. And she said also we were noisy when we walked. Here's another thing. We came in, it was raining that day, so we left our umbrellas outside, and then she had a bag with her from a convenience store. So as soon as we came into the pay area, they're all separated rooms. They said, here's another bag. You can't bring a bag from outside into the museum. So here's a fresh new bag. So they gave it to her, and she put that bag into the fresh new bag. And then we went into the room where the art was, and they said, you can't bring a bag into here. And I said, this is a new bag that they just gave us. And they said, we'll give you another bag to put that bag in. So the upshot is, it was only 1,800 yen, but we got 7 new bags.
Yeah, and I mean, they charge for those now at the supermarket.
Yeah. So what's that worth? 35 yen at least.
There you go. You get your money's worth.
Saving money. And I said, I wish I had known that. I would have come in with 3 bags. And then you can put those in bags. Can I go to the bathroom? You come back in with the bags they gave you, and then you get new bags. And I said, how about you put the art in the bag?
Yeah.
All right? Then I can point at it. Yeah. So that's the art museum thing.
I've experienced that, too. It's very frustrating. A lot of people don't realize that because most people who are listening to this probably live outside Japan, have never maybe been here to an art gallery. They take it to a huge, insane level of quiet. I've been to art galleries in New York. I've been to art galleries in Europe. Of course, they ask you to be respectful of the paintings and not scream and stuff like that. But you can carry on a conversation about, look at the line of this painting, and you can talk about the art.
Nobody goes into an art museum to raise hell.
Of course.
I assume if you went to an art museum, you might kind of respect art a little bit.
Exactly.
All right, so give us the benefit of a doubt. And another one is, she said, we had a dinner appointment. She said, what time is it? So I pulled out my phone. Boom, they come over. They swarm over.
Oh, my God. You're going to take a picture of the painting?
They said the light is not good for the painting.
Which is behind glass.
But you have lights. But you have lights here. She said, that's so people don't fall. So they can see where they're going. So they can see where they're going when they're not pointing and not talking. I mean, why the hell did I come in here? Her daughter loves this art, and it was boring to me and her mom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, I'm counting down the minutes. So, okay, let's just keep going. We finished. I'm like, thank God. This has been an hour. And then her daughter says, oh, but there's the other side of the room. We haven't seen that.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to go outside.
Let's go to the gift shop, shall we?
I'm going to go outside and point and talk.
Yeah.
Cats and dogs living together.
There you go.
You mix tea with milk, and you don't even shake it up, I put a glass on the table, and I don't even wipe it off when I take it off. I don't use a coaster.
Did you sneeze?
I'm a renegade.
Did you sneeze a few times?
Yeah, sneeze.
Could you imagine one of those French artists coming back, who was in 1800s, coming to Japan in 2020 and looking at how people are admiring his paintings and realizing they can't even talk in front of his paintings? How crazy would they think that is?
Yeah, he'd say, I made this for the people.
Mm-hmm.
Only people that don't point and whisper or sneeze. If
artists are all about conformity. That's one thing artists are really about.
They love rules.
They love rules.
Yeah, so you go into an art museum full of rules. They have more rules than a swimming pool, in Japan. You go to a swimming pool, no running, no coughing, no
swimming.
There's lanes. Yeah, there's lanes where you can't swim. You can only walk. That's for the old people. There's lanes where if you swim, you have to keep swimming.
Oh, thank God I've never been to a pool in Japan.
Until you get out. And my joke is, I went to the pool the other day. I was there for 2 hours, but I didn't have time to swim. I was too busy reading all the rules. because they're all over the wall.
Wow.
But they should be in plastic because you might actually point at those rules.
That's right. But
Call back, ladies and gentlemen.
But shouldn't they just tell you what you can do in the pool? Wouldn't that be quicker?
Be a short list. When I was in the pool, the guy who's older than me, he's in great shape, but he must have been 75, the lifeguard. Mm-hmm. That's reassuring. And I realized how out of shape I was. I hadn't swam for 15 years.
Yeah.
I swam for 20 seconds, and then my heart is pounding. So I stood up. Mm-hmm. You got to rest. He goes, no, you can't stop. You have to keep going. And I said, I can keep going, but my heart's not going to keep going. And he goes, you have to swim continuously. I'm like, what is this, Dachau? Jeez. So, and I had, on this note, one more thing to mention is I'm a cigar aficionado, I'll say it, right? And recently I've been given presents of some really nice cigars. I was right here at our institute.
Nagoya Comedy HQ.
Yeah, the mansion, the Nagoya Comedy Mansion, down in the parking lot. There's a guy smoking a cigarette, right, and I'm smoking that. I always try to be polite. They're looking at me, and I don't want to know the answer to your question, but I just say, does it smell to you? I mean, does it smell bad to you? I mean, I can move over here. I mean, if it's a big problem. I'm trying to be polite. Well, that's accidentally asking permission, which I didn't realize. Cool-looking guy. He spoke English. He's Japanese, and he works in the office near us.
And then he took off his jacket, and you recognized the armband. Well, he's an authority figure. He's going to tell me what to do.
Well, he's basically, where'd you get that? And I'm not sure he wasn't an undercover cop. But he said it smells like weed. Mike, you've had that cigar, and you've never had weed. Do you think cigars smell like weed?
Not really.
No, and so I think that's why I thought he was an undercover cop, because I would go, he wanted me to reach into my jacket and go, no, that doesn't smell like weed. I need a bag. This smells like weed. This is real weed. This is the good stuff.
By the way, that was just an audio effect.
Yeah.
There was no weed in that bag.
These are the bags I got from the museum. He asked me, he said, I'm interested in those cigars. Can I see the box? I showed him the box. He goes, where do you buy these? I said, Spirits down there near a certain
great
hotel.
Great place.
Near a certain hotel. Then he left, and then I finished, and I went in. As you know, we have two sliding glass doors. The building is separated, so I went, and his side is on the other side, and I was sitting at the elevator, and the reason he acted like an undercover cop because he knocked on the glass because he doesn't have a key for our side, right? As I'm waiting at the elevator, so I went over. I thought he needs to come in, and he came in and he goes, "Yeah, I asked the guys on the second floor of the office where I work, and they said they'd really appreciate it if you would stop doing that because it goes into the windows and it goes into the ventilation." And I said, "Well, I do pay over $500 a month rent here, so." If I'm ever on Trivial Pursuit, and they ask me things people complain about, I'll list that, but I'm not going to change.
Just don't tell Steve.
Yeah. Why not Steve?
Actually, I sent him a link the other day because Steve is virulently against smokers and smoking, right?
Yeah.
So there's a thing called, I was looking on Wikipedia the other day, Japanese Wikipedia, there's actually a thing in Japan called smoku harassmento. They call it sumohara for short, which is like when you harass someone with your smoke from your cigarette.
Wow.
I'm not sure if it's smoku harassment or smoking harassment, but sumohara. And I was like, what the wow. There is a harassment for everything in Japan, is there not?
Yeah, I wouldn't think you would get away with sumohara because they're pretty big guys.
I know.
They could kick your butt.
They could, usually.
Don't harass sumos, people. All right, we're going to continue topics. It's been Mark Bailey and Mike Miller on Talk Funny.